This presentation is brought to you by the Newbury U3A Computer Group, and my name is Bill Smith. With the country currently in lockdown, people are spending much more time online. So now it's more important than ever to understand how to stay safe in cyberspace. It is a sad fact that whenever there is a natural disaster like a flood, famine or earthquake, there is an army of fraudsters who will try to take advantage of the situation. Pop-up charities will appear that will ask for donations to help the victims of these disasters. The current coronavirus pandemic is no exception, and there are people who will be trying to take your money, or more insidiously, just trying to make trouble because they can. As you can see from the quote from the National Crime Agency, the security agencies and police forces are working to take down any online scams, but it will be a continual battle. In this presentation, I will describe some of the current scams and give general advice about staying safe online. In the Newbury U3A Computer Group, we've given presentations before where we've covered all aspects of online security in detail, and those are available on our blog. The address of the blog I'll give at the end of this presentation. Here I'll concentrate on current issues that are particularly applicable to the lockdown. So what will we cover? Well, we'll cover any current scams that are out there. We'll cover fake emails and phishing. Phishing is a term used to describe attempting to extract information from you, like banking details or passwords, so that you can be defrauded. Anything you can say about emails, you can also say about text messages and phone calls. For text messages, the equivalent to phishing is called smishing. The reason it's called smishing is the proper name for text messaging is SMS, or short message service. So smishing actually means short message phishing. We'll cover fake websites. How do you know by looking at a website whether it's a fake or a real one? Because some of the fakes are very realistic. And we'll cover the government's virus tracking app that by the time you look at this will probably be available. What we're not going to cover is some of the stuff we covered before in previous presentations. Not going to cover what makes a good password, how to use a password, how to keep them protected. You can go back and look at our other presentations to get previous information where we covered this. I'm not going to cover how to dispose of your computer safely so that people can't steal the old information of it. We're not going to look at malware. As I say, in other presentations we did present what it is, how to stop it, how to remove it when it's there. We're not going to look at the security issues around online banking or online shopping. And we're not going to look at the do's and don'ts, security do's and don'ts when it comes to social media. All of these we've covered in the past and may well cover in the future. But as I say, go back, look at our blog, they're on presentations that are there. At the time of making this recording, it's the beginning of May 2020. So the three scams I present here are the current high runners on the government's website, but they may well be out of date by the time you listen to this, and there may be other scams ready to take your money. The first scam is a text message you receive saying that through your phone position being monitored, the government is going to fine you because you've been outside your house too often or too long. The second one here is another fake text message. It's offering to give you, in this case, £258 as a goodwill payment. I've seen this mentioned elsewhere with larger monies than £258, so it's playing on people's greed as time goes on. And the third one is, if you have kids at school, if only you supply your bank details, they will give you money because you're entitled to free school meals. Now let's talk about emails in general. Many security presentations I've seen suggest you don't open unsolicited emails, but in general there's not much risk in this, providing you don't open any attachments that come with them. Opening attachments in unsolicited emails is one of the main ways that malware can infect your computer. Also, you shouldn't follow any links given in the email. They'll take you to rogue websites which in themselves can introduce malware, or more likely will try and extract information from you like your password or your banking details. Probably less intuitively, you shouldn't reply to the email. Some emails might suggest that you send an unsubscribe message if you don't want to receive them again. Or if you think the email is trying to defraud you, you might be tempted to send a rude response back. Don't respond. Often these scam emails are sent to on spec, so people don't know that an actual email address exists. If you respond, they will know you're there, and you may find yourself the victim of a more sophisticated scam later. Here is another scam email that's doing the rounds at the moment. It purports to be from the World Health Organization. So how do you know this is a scam email? Well, it has bad English. That's not to say all scammers are bad at English and all official emails will have perfect English, but nevertheless bad English is a key sign that what you have is a bogus email. Secondly, it wants you to download a document. Downloading documents is another key way that malware can get onto your computer, and it's what this email is trying to get you to do. Thirdly, is the email addressed to you? If an email is specifically to you, in other words, if you look in the to address, you will find your email address. If it's specifically to you, it's more likely to be a proper email. If it's to a general distribution, and this says Dear Sir as well, then that's more of an indication that this is likely to be a scam email. Here's a scam text message which is doing the rounds at the moment. It's the one I mentioned earlier where the government were offering to give you £258. As you can see, the amount's now gone up. So, how do you know that this is a scam text message? Well, it's marked as urgent. Scammers will often mark things as urgent and important in order to get you to act quickly before you have time to think. Secondly, it doesn't look like a valid website. I've no idea where that would take you, and I'm not going to try and select it just to be sure. This is from the government's website. The top text message I received myself about 3 weeks ago, and I've checked character for character. That is the message I received. It's a valid message. gov.uk is a valid UK government website. The bottom message the government are indicating is invalid. On the face of it, you can't tell from the text it's invalid. gov.uk is a valid website. So the only reason I know the bottom one is invalid is because I know that we're not being fined £35 if we step outside our house 3 times. So some of these text messages can be very convincing. Here is a scam email I received myself back in 2013. It's telling me my Amex card has been blocked. So how do I know this is a scam? Well, I don't have an Amex card, so that's a bit of a giveaway. But equally, Amex are not going to send such a message. It's not sent specifically to me. They've obviously sent this to lots of people in the hope that someone will bite. Amex or any proper organisation would never ask you to download and run anything. As we said in a previous slide, scammers will try to make things look urgent or important to get you to act quickly before you can think. Here's a scam email I received back in 2016. It's telling me my PayPal account has been compromised. Now, I do have a PayPal account, but PayPal would never send such a message. That's not even the PayPal logo. And that's certainly not the PayPal email address. So what this email is trying to get me to do is to click on the link and go to a website. Now, you can tell where a link points to by simply hovering your arrow over the link. So if I hover the arrow over where it says activate account, your browser will show in the bottom left hand corner of the screen the web address that you would go to if you clicked. It's always worth doing this if you're not sure. And later on in this presentation I will show you how you might be able to recognize bogus web addresses. This email is not sent specifically to me, again an indication that they're just out there trying to get somebody to respond. And it's bad English. When you created your PayPal account, to make sure you're the account holder. Again, another key indication that this is probably a scam email. So I mentioned phishing earlier. Phishing is where the scammers are trying to extract information from you, like your password or your bank account number. This is done by specifically asking you in an email, or an email sending you off to a bogus website where you're expected to fill in the details. So, treat emails or telephone or text messages that request information from you with suspicion. Never give anyone your password or security information. Never give personal and/or banking details. Emails telling you your account has been compromised are false. We saw the previous two emails that have been sent to me back in 2013 and 2016. Both were attempting to get me to act urgently because my PayPal or my Amex account had been compromised. Both were false. Senders' email addresses can be forged, so even looking at the sender's, the from email address, doesn't necessarily tell you it's come from a valid site, even if it says PayPal or Amex in the email address. Optionally, you can forward these emails to the organization that's being spoofed. But as I said in a previous slide, you should never respond to the email itself, because that lets them know you're there. I think it's worthwhile mentioning one of the most well-known scams. It's called the advanced fees scam. In the advanced fees scam, you receive an email which asks you to pay upfront fees to gain a lot of money in return. The most common variant of this is known as the Nigerian or the 419 scam. It's called 419 because apparently that's the section of the Nigerian penal code dealing with fraud. In this particular variant of the scam, a Nigerian prince needs to get his money out of the country, but he needs someone to pay his legal fees up front. In return for this, once his money is out of the country, you will receive an enormous amount of money. Obviously you won't. Mostly this is not from Nigeria, mostly this is from the US or Russia. And it is a very old scam. It started back in the 19th century when the internet was much slower than it is today. In fact, it started using real letters and mail. So, how can you tell if you're on a bogus website? Scammers will often choose a name for their website which is close to the name of the website they're trying to spoof. The example I've given here is barclaysbank.com, not spelled correctly. Please don't try and go to that website, as I don't know what's there and it's likely to be not nice. You can hover your pointer over a link if a link's in an email or a link's on another website. If you hover your pointer over the link, your browser will display the name of the website behind that link. In Internet Explorer and Edge, it's displayed in the bottom left-hand side of the screen. I think it's the same in all other browsers, but I'm not positive. In deciding whether you're on a bogus website, you should consider how you got there. If you're on a website you trust and you click a link on that website and it takes you to another website, you can be fairly sure the website you get to is trusted. If you directly enter the web address, providing you don't mistype it, then you can be sure you've gone to the right place. Most people find new web addresses by using a search engine. Most people use Google, but there's also Bing or Yahoo. Now, Google and Bing and Yahoo do not guarantee websites. If I was to do a search for plumbers in Newbury, I would get a list of plumbers in Newbury. I might even get a few people called Mr. Plumber. And there would be a list of links that I could click on to go to the appropriate websites. Now, Google and Bing and Yahoo don't guarantee those websites. If you do end up on a bogus website because of a search, then you can report it back to the search engine, and they may block that from appearing on anybody else's search. But if you're the first person to find that bogus website, or somebody else has been scammed and not reported it, then Google and Bing and Yahoo will not guarantee the website. So just be a little careful. If you're following a link from an unsolicited email, then very much caution is needed. Here is an example of a bogus website page pretending to be the Facebook sign-up page. But if you look at the top of the browser in the address window, you will see that is certainly not Facebook's web address. But looking at the page itself, it does look very convincing. So if you were to enter your name and your password, then the scammer could potentially take your password and log into your real Facebook account and pretend to be you. Here is a picture of the home page of the HSBC website. I've blown up the address line just so you can see what the web address is. Now there are two things I want you to notice there. The first is that the web address starts HTTPS. If the web address starts HTTP, it means that the communication between you and the website is unencrypted. It means that the communication can be eavesdropped by a third party. If the website starts HTTPS, the S means secure, it means that your communication is encrypted, so it's safer. Second thing I want you to notice is the green padlock. What that means is the website has been checked out by a certification organization. Now, if you hover your arrow over the top of the green padlock, as I've done here, it will pop up and tell you which certification organization has verified the website. In the case here, the website has been verified by the Symantec Corporation. There are a number of certification organizations, Symantec being one of them, and website owners can apply to these corporations to have their websites checked out and certified, as HSBC has done here. There are a number of levels of website certification. DV, OV and EV. Now I'm not going to go into what each one of those entails here, just to say that an uncertified website will start HTTP, and then with increasing level of security you get DV and OV and then finally EV. Depending upon what level of certification the website is will depend on what it looks like in the banner at the top of your web browser. I've shown what each level will look like for Chrome, Firefox, Opera, Internet Explorer and Edge. I apologize I haven't included Safari for Apple users. So if you remember when we looked on a previous slide at HSBC, that was showing a green padlock and it was shown in the Edge browser. So you can assume that HSBC has EV certification, which is the highest level of certification. If you're using a bank which doesn't have that level of certification, then my recommendation to you is change your bank. The last topic we're going to cover in this presentation is virus tracking. The concept is quite straightforward. Person A is at home with their partner, person B. They go to work in the morning where they become close to persons C and D. Then they work where they become close to E, F and G and not quite so close to other people. And then they return home. So the next day they awake with a fever and they test positive for coronavirus. When they inform somebody by some mechanism that they have coronavirus, then automatically the system should tell the people they've been close to that they need to self-isolate and warn the people that they've been near that they need to social distance. That's the theory of the way the system works. Your mobile network knows where you are the whole time you have your phone switched on. It knows this because your mobile phone is continually pinging the nearest cell tower. So the network can tell if more than one person is in the same cell. Some countries have considered using this as a basis of a virus tracking system. However, it's not very accurate, and at best you would be able to tell if you'd come within 100 meters of somebody else. A better system is a virus tracking app. This app would use the Bluetooth capability of your phone. Bluetooth is the low-powered short-range wireless which is used, for example, to connect your phone to a wireless earpiece or to the hands-free capability of your car. Bluetooth has a range of about 5 meters. The Bluetooth virus tracking app on your phone would run in the background and be continuously looking for other phones running a Bluetooth tracking app to come within range. When two phones both running the app detect each other, they will exchange details. In this way, your phone will build a list of other phones it has been near to, and if you subsequently test positive for the virus, this list can be uploaded and the owners of the other phones on the list alerted. One problem with this is that the app needs to be continuously running, which will have an impact on your battery life. A recent study by a UK university has shown that to stop the virus would require 80% of smartphone use to download and run the app, and to have more than a marginal effect, at least 60% of users will need to download the app. However, in Singapore, where they are already using such an app, take-up has been less than 20%. To overcome this, both Google for Android phones and Apple are considering building the app into their operating system so that you will automatically have it and be unable to switch it off. Privacy campaigners have expressed concerns about the possible misuse of location tracking data by governments. A UK tracking app will be available by mid-May. Indeed, you may well be using it before you listen to this video. The National Cyber Security Centre, which is part of GCHQ, has launched an email reporting service. So if you have an email sent to you which you think may be a phishing scam, you can report it to them. Suspicious emails should be forwarded to report@phishing.gov.uk. The National Cyber Security Centre will analyse it, and if it or any of the websites it linked to are malicious, then they may seek to block the address, ask the hosting companies to remove any malicious websites, and publicise any commonly reported scams. In the first week of the new service, they received 25,000 reports and have removed 400 phishing campaigns. This presentation was brought to you by the Newbury U3A Computer Group. The organiser of that group is myself, Bill Smith, and Stuart Hall. Presentations that we've made in the past can be viewed at newburycomputer.blogspot.com. And if you want to send us an email, please send them to newburycomputer@gmail.com. And be careful out there.